I trust you to make it look good. You have been excellent at that so far.
Hey, Dave,
Hmm.
you're live.
You're live.
Oh, I thought we were
What?
getting a countdown. My bad. Hi, everyone. How's it going? So that was a fantastic start to tonight's Friday Night Fireside. I am Dave. Welcome to Dave's World. So tonight we are having a very special Friday Night Fireside. It's an all veterans panel, and we are going to be talking about veterans issues. Uh, gosh, oh, I'm having all kinds of rough start. That was not all right. Let me open by saying tonight is not a debate over whether veterans deserve care, and it is not a test of whether the Abraham Lincoln's crew is tough enough. Their endurance is not in question. We will distinguish what officials have confirmed, what sailors and families have reported, and what remains unknown. The crew is active duty, but conditions created in uniform do not vanish at separation. They become injuries, family burdens, claims, appointments, and sometimes crises. America is quick to borrow our credibility and praise our sacrifice. Tonight, veterans will explain what happens when the bill comes due. I, myself, am a veteran, combat veteran, served in Iraq in the U.S. Army, 3 tours, 12 years of service. I have some friends with me tonight who are from different eras and different services and are going to want to share their different stories. So let me go ahead and introduce the panel. Let's start by sharing Shipwreck John. And John, why don't you go ahead and tell us your name? I just told it, but your branch and when you serve and what you want to talk about tonight.
Well, I served from 1980 to 1992, September to September. So it was 12 years and 23 days, I think, when all uh, calculated out. And that's a period of time where we had a lot of little international scuffles here and there, but nothing serious until the 1990s, I guess, is when we started things other than peacekeeping efforts in both Africa, Bosnia Herzegovina, and I was actually at the Beirut peacekeeping force. So a lot of my experience was on board ship. I spent approximately 7 years at sea out of 12. So I can say that I can understand and sympathize with the Abraham Lincoln, and I also know what was some of the things that I think they could have done to alleviate that. And I don't know exactly how they made their decisions, but to me, they don't seem like they were very well informed about naval operations. So anyway, we can get into that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And I do think that you're going to be very valuable to the conversation and about the Abraham Lincoln tonight, the parts that are about that, because you have direct experience on a ship, and that's something I don't have. So I appreciate
and
you
with
being
carrier
here
battle
tonight.
groups.
I got an opening question. I got an opening question that I'm going to ask everyone, then I'll answer it at the end. That's going to be common for how the format is going to go tonight, where I'm going to be asking some questions, getting your guys' responses, and then sharing my own thoughts after everybody else does. So my opening question for each of you, so you, Fiona, you get extra time to think about it. Lucky you. When did you realize America valued your service differently from how it valued your well-being?
Hmm.
Oh, there's going to be some hard questions tonight. I'm sorry, but I'm not. Just I see the gears turning. I hear the smoke burning.
Do you want a particular
Crackle.
point of time that this happened, or do you want us to
I
give
would
you
just
a?
say, or maybe like what was
I know
happening
exactly when
for you.
mine
I
happened,
don't need to
so
pinpoint. Yeah, I don't need to pinpoint the date, but like just yeah, like I want to understand your realization.
okay. My realization was in 1993 when I came back from my extended leave after I'd already left the service, and started going to the VA hospital in, I don't want to call them out. Yeah, I do, Fresno. And I was there, and the hospitals at that point in the 90s were not the hospitals they are now. Uh, at the time, I had been referred to a osteopath, a bone doctor, um, for my pain problems that I was having that got me out of the Navy. Um, the Navy had graciously given me a diagnosis of fibromyalgia, which was incorrect, but I didn't know that for another 10 years. The, um, the bone doctor said there was absolutely nothing wrong with me and that I really should get a life. And then I found out as I was leaving that he had told that to another person instead of a sailor, a soldier, who I had been talking to. He said that to me, um, and he had severe PTSD. So there was no support from even the VA at that point for a lot of people because the medical community had its old-fashioned opinions about what was real and what wasn't. And so they decided that the rest of us were malingerers. Matter of fact, they thought mine was all in my head. So they sent me to a shrink. You know what the shrink reported back to them? He's fine psychologically. He's just in an awful lot of pain. So threw it right back in their lap. But they couldn't figure out what was causing it. And that's because they didn't do the right tests. And so,
Yeah.
I can go further into that, but that was the moment when he
Yeah, we're
said
gonna have
that to
plenty
me,
of time to go into the weeds of that stuff.
the
Let me
details. But
yeah,
when
let
he
me go
said
ahead
that
and
to me, that's when it
Mhm.
got to me that they're not interested in getting us healthy. They're not interested in our well-being at all. They're interested in making some sort of metric on their side that makes them look like they're doing their job. And they don't want to do their job. They just want to look like they're doing their job. So I kind of, at that point, I knew
Mhm.
I was going to have to fight for everything at that point, and I did.
Gotcha. All right, let's kick over to introductions on Fiona. Fiona, go ahead and tell us about your a little bit about your service, and I'm gonna come back at you with the yeah, introduce yourself, share yourself with whatever you want to as by way of introduction. Go. I'll stop talking.
Hi. Well, I'm Fiona. I was Army um, from 2001 to 2013, 5 deployments um, with Kosovo, Iraq, Afghanistan, doing mostly gun trucks or security purposes for the most part. We did some QRF. I was in a maintenance company, so we were attached anywhere. Um, I think the biggest thing was joining and then getting like immediately thrown into the deployments because we were right on that rotation. So it
Mm-hmm.
just happened.
Oh, was that your answer to the opening question? That like you right away you were like, yeah, they don't give a fuck.
Oh, that was during my second Iraq tour where we were um,
Okay.
going to leave about, I would say, a month before we were starting to get our connexes loaded and everything because we were going to leave. And then all of a sudden the surge hit. So we still had to be extended and we were all like distraught. It's like, what the hell is going on? And we had to stay an extra 7 months because of bureaucracy. It's just how it is.
All right. Well, thank you. I'll go ahead and come back around and answer the opening question. When did I realize America valued my service differently from how it valued my well-being? I'm gonna answer this question in two parts because there's the when I should have figured it the fuck out and when I actually figured it the fuck out. I should have figured it the fuck out when stop loss hit me because um I was told that you know, I wasn't going home even though my contract was ending, and convinced to go ahead and extend, which is why I ended up doing 12 years instead of 6. Because it was like, you're not going home anyway, you might as well get this tax-free bonus. I should have figured it out then, but I did not. When it really hit me was when I had to fight for my appeals process through legal battles, through legal channels, in order to get my VA benefits, even just to get health care. I had to go through 2 years just fighting to get a rating. And then they stiffed me on the rating, or not stiffed me on the rating, but they stiffed me on the date of when I qualified, which cost me year plus back pay. For some of the things got backdated several years, so I might be seeing even more back pay. The good news on that is after 3 years of legal battles, I for the appeal, a federal judge in DC just ruled about 2 months ago in my favor and told the VA to go unfuck what they fucked the first time. And now I'm just waiting for them to get through all of their bureaucracy, and they are pulling out all the stops of the delays that they can. And I just got a message the other day that they tried to kick it back to my attorney because they want the attorney to submit additional evidence, but we already submitted the evidence. All of the evidence that we submitted is the exact same evidence we submitted to the judge. Like, they are still trying to play fuck games to not pay me. But eventually the bill is literally going to come due. And I'm greatly anticipating that life-changing amount of money that's going to be coming to me very soon. I don't need to talk too much about me. That covers our introductions. Let me go ahead and get into our first topic, which is the news and reports coming from the USS Abraham Lincoln. Where's my... Oh, shit. Did I put that lower? I apologize. I'm looking through my notes here. Where's the Lincoln stuff? God damn it. Oh, derp. All right. I had just scrolled past it. It's a night. All right. So, I'm going to go through the news and claims of what's going on for the USS Abraham Lincoln. And just the story in 60 seconds. Lincoln left San Diego on November 21st, 2025, and was redirected to support U.S. combat operations against Iran. About 5,000 sailors and Marines have endured a deployment that reached 266 days by August 14th, including more than 200 days in a combat zone and a record-setting stretch of more than 200 consecutive days without a conventional restorative port call. Families and sailors report exhaustion, difficult living conditions, suicidal thoughts, multiple overboard interventions. Navy leaders say the crew has had only a small number of mental health cases, no loss of life, and strong support. Additional support personnel were sent. The USS George Washington was moving west to relieve Lincoln, but no public homecoming date was available when I wrote this. But I do have an update on that. I'm happy to report because today I made sure that all of my facts were up to date, even though I wrote this outline 2 or 3 days ago. One important news is that the Washington reportedly did reach the Lincoln yesterday, and the Lincoln has started returning home today. So they are on their way back to San Diego, my hometown, very, very soon. I also have some other just brief updates that I wanted to make sure were very, very clear. And this is as of today. This is my updated notes. Approximately 273 total deployment days. It was not 273 consecutive days at sea. They had a 208-day no port call stretch. I think John will be able to talk about that a little bit for us and what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And they acknowledged the limited Oman and Guam stops. I do also want to just throw in, we've got it on the screen here, the 988 crisis line. We are going to be talking about some self-harm stuff tonight, and I want to remind that anytime we end a suicide-related segment, I'm going to remind people that if you are thinking about self-harm or you are in a crisis, you don't have to. Crisis does not have to mean you got a gun to your head. Call 988 and press 1, or you can text 838-255, or you can visit veteranscrisisline.net. They have live chat assistance through there. So these are all ways that if you are going through a crisis, you can get some help and assistance. I want to make sure everybody has access to that. And we were going to leave that up all night during the discussion in case any time anything we talk about is triggering for anybody. I want you to reach out and get assistance if you feel you need it. What has been confirmed or officially stated? So the Lincoln departed San Diego November 21st. The crew is roughly 5,000 sailors and Marines. Acting Navy Secretary Hung Chow reported 266 days deployed, 200 in the combat zone, 10,000 plus sorties, and 1.5 million pounds of ordnance dropped as of August 14th. A sailor went overboard August 3rd and was recovered. The circumstances and motive have not been publicly established. Senator Richard Blumenthal requested deployment living condition, fatigue, mental health readiness, and relief data. His requested response date is August 27th. So this is actual congressional action being like, hey, the DOD needs to tell us what the fuck is going on. So those are some of the official reports that I have at the moment. Some things that are reported but not fully verified. A named spouse told Military Times that her husband attempted to jump overboard and was placed on medical hold. Another spouse described her husband intervening when a different sailor appeared ready to go overboard. The Navy did not publish a precise count. About 200 family members reported raising mental health and self-harm concerns directly with senior Navy officials at San Diego town halls. I was not able to attend, but I did watch that town hall. It was intense. Sailors and families described exhaustion, limited rest, uncertainty, disrupted mail, sanitation, and plumbing problems, water and supply concerns, and strained communication. Officials dispute or qualify parts of that picture. Reporting described limited Guam and Oman stops, use no conventional restorative port call for more than 200 days, not the ship never stopped, right? That was a note for me. I didn't need to say use. Oops. What is still unknown or disputed? The number and definitions of mental health cases, suicidal ideation reports, attempts, interventions, referrals, medical holds, and evacuations. Whether the August 3rd overboard event was connected to mental health, deployment conditions, or another cause. Still unknown whether the denominator, time period, coding rules, screening practices, and independent validation behind the claim that Lincoln had the fewest cases among 11 carriers. The final relief, return, post-deployment screening, and family support sequence has not been published. So a summary of this is the families have reported a crisis. Officials dispute and the increased undocumented cases, and the public data needed to resolve that conflict have not been released because leadership's response, CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper, praised the crew's resilience and said Lincoln had the lowest number of mental health cases among. I think I read some of my notes out of order, but that's okay. I wrote some of this really fast. Lincoln had the lowest number of mental health cases among the Navy's 11 active carriers. Chow has said a small number of cases had been treated with no loss of life. He argued that coverage portrayed the crew as victims and emphasized mission output, retention, and endurance. And of course, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said reports completely misrepresented conditions. President Donald Trump said the deployment was not nearly long enough. So, all right, I gotta stop just reading this and let my fellow vets here on the panel respond to some of this. I think obviously, the first person I would like to hear from is John. You are the Navy guy. I read some of those things, but I don't understand all of them, especially like some of those the information that I got about the official reports of this stuff happening. Some of it was just like, okay, I'm gonna copy paste this and I'm gonna ask John. So can you start there and just like can you help make sense of some of the things I said?
Let's start at the beginning here. Let's start with yesterday, today. The George Washington showed up to relieve the Abraham Lincoln. And what normally is happening in these turnovers is you turn over the entire battle group, not just the carrier. It's all the carrier plus their escorts. That could be anywhere from the carrier +5 to the carrier +20. You just don't know what they have. Ships come and go.
Right, because carriers usually have a complement, right?
Right. They have their normal complement. I was on a cruiser that was a normal complement with the Midway. And, we oftentimes, several times before Gulf War I, went and, when it was still the Iran-Iraq War, and floated around the Gulf monitoring their war. That was an interesting deployment. But anyway, when you turn over, when any deployment you're turning over when you're at sea, and it's an at sea turnover, they almost always are the real ones. You take a day and a half, 2 days, sometimes 3, to pass on all the intelligence, all the operating parameters, all the stuff the new guy has to know, where the areas of operation are, what the navigation problems are, if you're going to go in a certain area, what your threats are, what's going on the ground on each side. You need to know all this stuff. They might have been briefed from the Pentagon, but the people you really need to talk to about what's actually going on and how to drive the ship or the ships or the formations is during that turnover period. If they turned over in less than 24 hours, I'd be a little sketchy on how much they actually turned over. So, that I'll leave that as it is. They probably did a good job. They were just in a hurry to get out of there. So hopefully they didn't miss anything critical. I don't think they would, because they're naval officers involved in a lot of that, and the ones that are involved in that have everything on the top of their heads all the time. So, I trust my fellow ship drivers to do the right thing.
Let me ask you a question in response to that, because Oh, go ahead.
Well, no,
I do
was going to
want
get
to ask a
into a new
question, but I want to make
subject,
sure you
so
finish
go
the
ahead.
thought.
I'm done.
Oh, okay. So, well, maybe your new subject will feed into my question. Who knows? You just described a lot about what your experience. What do you think is happening different right now? Like, where do you think the actual command out there is at compared to what you would have experienced in your time?
Well, CENTCOM, I think, is the ones who, the people right here in Tampa, I think, are, that's not CENTCOM. Okay. It's been 40 years since I dealt with the hierarchy, and it's changed quite a bit since then. I can't really tell who's in charge of that. I do know that, it used to be a lot easier to tell. Sink pack fleet would normally have something to do with it. We didn't have a standing Indian Ocean fleet at that point. Seems like we've had one for a while now. I don't know how that has been integrated into the command structure. However, there is a unified command structure that goes up through Central Command, I guess it is, and they should be. If my old knowledge is still even relevant, which it probably isn't, that would be the command structure. It would probably be a Army or Marine Corps general, since most that the ships are going to be doing is naval gunfire support and amphibious operations if they ever get to that land war. So there's an air war. The air warfare commander on the carrier or the cruiser are the ones who are going to be dealing with the aircraft, and that is a very complex subject. I can't get into in any detail, so it's like I don't want to confuse people further. Carrier operations are very complex. The timing's important. The communications are specific. It's when you're doing essentially shooting active missiles and have bombers, both Air Force and Navy off the carriers. You have to coordinate the Air Force, the Navy, and the missiles, the smart missiles that you're shooting, and you have to make sure that nobody gets in each other's way. And it's a very large, complex problem. So it's not easy to do.
Let's put a pin in that.
Is incredible. The stress is incredible. That goes to how the crew is happening.
Let's put a pin in that. So, I want to ask you. I'm going to want to ask you a little bit later about the ordnance stuff, because there were some specific numbers that were dropped about that. We'll return to that because I do have notes. I fortunately do not have to forget and then, oh shit, what was I saying? So, but I was a sapper, right? The renegade sapper, as I call myself in the gaming circles, and ordnance was my job in the Army. So I'm really clear, or I'm really curious if you can put some of those numbers to context, right? The 10,000 plus sorties and the 1.5 million pounds of ordnance dropped as of August 14th. What does that mean in Navy?
Ooh. If that was Navy, that would be several ammo hauls from Diego Garcia out to the Gulf, for one, in ammo ships that were much bigger than the ammo ship I was operations officer on. And I can tell you that much ordnance is no joke to get moved anywhere. The wear and tear on the aircraft, because that would mean I'd have to do the math, but the sorties per day that would entail is a 24-hour schedule, and it's intense. And that's not just dragging on the pilots, it's dragging on the deck crew. Yeah, that's the deck crew. They're out there on the
10,000 divided by 200. That's a lot.
Yeah. And so you're
And
looking
for
at
those who don't know the terminology, sorties are those are attacks. They're that's them launching an
sorties are
attack
when you
out
launch
at
an
something.
aircraft. That's it. You have a pair of aircraft launch. That's a
Oh,
sortie.
that's when you launch.
Um,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
right off the deck, right? So they're sorting out to go do
Well,
something nasty, or a sortie can also be the
well,
CAP, Combat Air Patrol, which is just going to be to defend the carrier as well, which is another thing they have to
it
do.
is a term that also is
Uh,
used in the army. So, yeah,
yeah.
for us, a sortie might be like a QRF kind of mission. For
Mhm.
example, would
Well,
be
sorties in
considered a
aircraft are
sortie.
just the aircraft taking
Um,
off and going to do a particular mission. So that would be a sortie. But the problem
yeah,
is that when you're dropping that kind of ordnance, you're in a chainsaw. And I don't want to go into what a chainsaw looks like, but you're literally launching and recovering aircraft in a circular motion. The chainsaw goes out, drops their bombs,
I
comes
see.
back, and then they goes like that. And when
Then
you
they
are doing that,
reload
the
and then they
stress,
go back out again.
yeah, right. Now the aircraft ammo handlers, the red shirts, are, sorry, I'm getting far into
Ooh,
it, but
that's a bad term for the
they
nerds out
have
there.
to load all the bombs onto the wing pods and the aircraft where they carry them, and make sure they're secure, get all the tags in, pull the tags, make sure it's a very complex little operation just to load one plane. So it takes about
Oh
three or
my.
four sailors per plane to get
Hmm.
them ready, and that's before they even taxi out to get into the catapult. It's like, and how they do it now, I have no idea. The Midway was a steam-powered ship, and it wasn't a nuclear carrier, which are a completely
Right.
different
It's
thing. I've
the
only
Midway is a freaking museum here in San Diego now. It's
I
literally a
know, but that's the
museum.
ship I operated with. That tells you how old I am. Uh, we were based out
Dude,
of
when if
Yokosuka.
you come out here to San Diego, I would love to like go to
I've
the
seen
Midway
it.
with you.
Yeah, I'll go to it. Yeah,
Right,
definitely,
so have
because
I, but not
I
with the guy
remember
who fucking was on it.
it.
Uh,
But
all
so
right,
yeah, I
cool.
was on the cruiser for that.
Fiona, you have been incredibly patient, and even though you weren't in the Navy, I want to hear your thoughts on all of these things. So, just like what are your general thoughts on the USS Abraham Lincoln, the reports, and the question I would like to ask you is like how does it relate to you and your experience and with your time in service? And sorry, pause on that before you answer. Gamble sent you a DM in Discord. Check that out, please. Continue, Fiona.
I think the biggest thing is our when we were on deployment in Iraq, we were the longest deployment since World War II, and I think it's kind of that same situation or same feel that you just get so stressed out doing it. Um, there's only you can only do things to a limit, and then you're hyper vigilant as it is, and then you start losing focus, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And I can see that happening with USS Lincoln, where they have issues with basically functioning correctly with all the major problems that were coming up.
Anything else you'd like
Definitely.
to add?
Uh, I biggest problem is I wasn't in the Navy, so I it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse. So
I can say
Okay,
that the
well, I
exhaustion
do
factor
think
is
that.
very
Oh,
dangerous.
sorry, go.
It's dangerous. The when you get that kind of exhaustion going, when you have 18-hour days and you're only sleeping, maybe 2 hours a day, and you're doing that for any length of time, and you're doing a job that requires precision and absolute memory and not just muscle memory. You have to be thinking specifically and concentrating on your job to stay from getting killed on the flight deck, for one thing, and or in the main spaces. There's moving parts down there that you have to make sure as you're walking around in them that you don't get so tired you forget to duck, or whatever it is you're doing, or you forget to check a gauge that you're supposed to check every round, and the gauge is over pressurizing, and you have a bearing go crazy, and you have catastrophic casualties at that point. The fact that they have not had any major casualties on the ship, as far as, I don't mean people jumping overboard. That's not what I mean. I mean a mechanical or material failure that has caused deaths in industry and injuries. I haven't heard of any. And the fact they could go that long under that intensive an operating schedule without any of those gives the credit to the crew. The crew has got to be one of the best that's ever been after that, because there is so much that can go wrong. It's just, you can't describe. If we had 6 months, I may be able to give you a flavor of it, but we don't. So we have a couple of hours. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I am absolutely totally impressed with the sailors of the Abraham Lincoln and their support ships, because they're all doing this. It's not just the carrier. The carrier's the big picture of, they're the ones shooting the aircraft, but there's an awful lot going on around them to keep them safe and to keep the aircraft safe. So I would just say that Bravo Zulu to Abraham Lincoln and their battle group.
Honestly, it's a miracle.
Yeah, no, I'm going to echo that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's just a miracle that
Fiona,
everybody
I didn't want to cut you off.
is perfect. I mean, they're no
everyone's
catastrophic issues.
Still breathing.
Well, mostly. I mean, you always.
I would consider what I've heard to be catastrophic.
Yeah, you always lose people. Not always, but it's not unusual to lose somebody on a cruise. We lost a person on our cruise. Our Mediterranean cruise. It's just that ships are big machines, and you're working around inside them. So if you can imagine yourself inside your car engine and you're dodging all the parts that are moving, gives you an idea.
Right. That's an amazing analogy. I know. So when I was researching for this conversation, one of the things I found out was about the USS George Washington. Apparently had like 11 plus suicide casualties in April of 2011, or sorry, not 2011, April of 2022. Like 11 in 1 month. And this is the ship that's going out to relieve the Lincoln. So
I'd like to know what
out to all of these people.
Yeah,
I don't know all the details. It was just a number I caught when I was doing research about, like, this is the ship that's relieving them, and I was like, oh shit. So,
well, no, they probably have a new crew by now, but it's usually 18 months to 2-year tour on a carrier.
You know what I
unless you're brand new, then it's 3 years.
You know what I think the problem is?
What's that?
Yeah, I think the problem with MAGA is I think that they think that Abraham Lincoln is out there fucking fighting off all of the commies, and George Washington is going to relieve him. I think that, oh hey, the Mira dimension, we do have another guest who finally joined us. Gamble, I know that's gonna play a little bit of a hell briefly. Mira's just a little bit late, but yeah, Gamble, if you can make room for them in our...
Sorry, come on! I'll bring you everything to talk to this. All right.
It's a bit, guys. For those who are not familiar, it's a bit that we do from our gaming. He's not actually.
It is not a bit. It is not a bit. I'm being 100% serious. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. But
Pretty
Gamble, what I will give you a heads up on is I would like to transition after I get the chance to introduce the guest who's joining us. And by the way, Mira, cameras are optional. If you don't wish to use your camera, we will just put up your icon, your profile picture.
and razz you mercilessly for not being on camera.
But while we're getting ready to introduce Mira, I want to let you know, Gamble, after I do that, I'm gonna play that video on my screen share and have everybody react to it. I want that video to go up full screen. All right. While you're getting things lined up for accommodating our guest, let's go ahead and introduce she her pronouns or they them or he Mira, go ahead and introduce yourself and share whatever name you'd like to use publicly and share with us your branch of service and period of service.
Hi, so I'm Mira, she, her pronouns.
You're a little quiet. Are you able to speak louder or be closer to your microphone or?
Yeah, so my name is Mira, she, her pronouns. I was in the Air Force from 2001 to 2014. What else?
Oh, shoot. God, oops, I did not mean to hit play on that. I'm going to go ahead and turn you up on my end so I can hear you better, Mira. And Gamble, if you can just boost the decibels on her. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mira. No, you're fine. You missed part of the discussion, but honestly, this is the best time for you to be joining because I have a video to share that I want everybody on the panel to react to. So, Gamble, let me know when you are ready for me to hit play. Yeah, I want the audience. I want the audience to see the video. All right, I'll start setting up the context for it while you're getting that ready. So, Joey Jones, a Fox News host, for I can't remember the name of his show, went on this rant that was absolutely basically just criticizing the sailors of the USS Abraham Lincoln for complaining. And I will let Joey speak for himself and I will let you guys react accordingly. Gamble, are we good for me to hit play and show everybody this video?
Before you throw another controller, maybe break up with your lag instead. Switch to optimum internet with reliability and
Nope. No, it's in screen share. You're capturing in Discord. I'm sharing it in Discord. Yeah. Capture screen. Okay. You know what? That is that makes way more sense, and I'm glad you're my producer.
Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, we are still having minor technical difficulties. Give me one moment.
Oh, this isn't even technical difficulties. I will tell you that
people don't understand how hard
the
it is
video
to do your
can-
job there, Gamble. That job is
Right?
insanely hard. I've been on
You
shows where they have
simulcast, yeah,
12
3
people
times,
behind.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been on
Right.
crews where there were 5, 6 people doing that job. So.
Mm-hmm. So, Gamble, when you display the video on live, you can start at the 1 minute mark, and then I will start at the link I sent you. Start at the 1 minute mark. I'm already at the 1 minute mark. I'm still sharing screen, so we can do 1, 2, 3, hit play at the same time, and the audience and us here in Discord will be watching it at the same time.
But still,
Yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh dude. When I brought it up for the first time, it was freaking Greg Abbott ad. I wanted to puke. I was like, I cannot skip this fast enough. I cannot skip this fast enough. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yes, I.
is very fired up, so I'm going to let him take the reins.
I mean, how weak are you on TV? Get out of the military. It because the alternative was an MRE or something cooked by the Afghan guy who was too stupid to be given a gun, and they let him be the cook. And so if I wanted something spicy, test my fate a little bit, I'd go get a bowl of whatever he made in that giant, urn thing that he had. I mean, how weak are you on TV complaining about tuna and noodles? I'm sorry. You volunteered to serve your country. You can come back, get out of the military, and do like all of these Democrat veterans and complain about it and make commercials and be a sellout if you want to and come up with a new way of doing things. The last Democrat president that I remember that was deploying troops, Barack Obama, had the Army going to Iraq and Afghanistan a heck of a lot more than you are on a fortified Navy ship sitting in the water. You might have got bored, and I'm sorry. We did have more fun getting in firefights, I'll say that. But to sit there and say that it was terrible because you had a corn dog and a hot dog, I would have traded a block of C4 to the Taliban for a hot dog by about July 2010. I just do not understand the mentality. If this is a representation of who our military is now, and I'm not saying it is, but there's at least enough for some of these trash rags to print about it. If this is who we are, we're just Rome sitting here waiting to burn. We've got nothing left. It makes me fume. If he sat there and said, we didn't have any clean water to drink, we couldn't take a shower. I mean, well, I didn't get to take a shower for about 6 months, but still, something that has something to do with hygiene or, like getting sick. There was a scurvy outbreak and, the guys that were missing legs were only given wooden pegs instead of metal ones. Then maybe I might have some sympathy. But to that little kid and whoever raised him, Lord, help you if you ever go into a hot war on the ground like millions of Americans have. I can only think what a World War II veteran sitting there who's lucid enough today to see that and think about the 6-month journey home from fighting the toughest war we've ever fought after being there for 4 years was thinking, listening to him complain like that. The Secretary of the Navy put out his response. That's my response. End of story.
Clay, we're going to bring up that response. Although Joey had a great one. I wish we could get a...
One second. I think I just did something that might have messed you up, and I'm unmessing you up. Give me a second.
Okay.
At least I realized, because what I did was I did the stop streaming, and then I realized, oh shit, that's gonna move all the cameras, positions, and so I put it back into I am streaming but just not sharing anything mode. So there is a lot to unpack there. Lot to unpack there. And this time I'm going to kick it over to Fiona first because you and I, we were both ground pounders. And this guy was speaking from a position of being deployed in Iraq/Afghanistan and comparing that to the sailors on the Lincoln. So Fiona, I don't really have a question for that. I don't know what to ask, so I'm just gonna have each person just respond. Like, what is your response to that? Any of that?
That's totally bullshit, is what it is. Because it's like, oh, we got MREs. It's like, no, you had a hot meal. If you drove a couple hours to fucking. Sorry if I swear. If you drove to like Balad.
No, oh no. This is a fully no. We're good. We're good on swearing here.
But yeah, if you drove to
Let it
Balad
out,
or Liberty
soldier.
or anything, it's like you have plenty of hot meals and plenty of people to get something. They barely have anything. I mean, they're stuck out, stranded to nothing. I mean, you might be stuck somewhere, but at the same time, you have that access. There's no way it's the same.
I have similar feelings, but let's go ahead and hear from the guest that joined us a little late and hasn't really had a chance to speak much. Let's have your first thoughts on the panel be your response to that video. Mira?
Yeah, first of all, Fox News. So, and then a comparison that comes to mind is that I was an avionics technician, and we had the luxury of being able to get parts in relatively easily to repair things. And I went to a micro-miniature repair school to learn to, work with what you have and repair what's on hand, the more in-depth stuff. You know who the experts were in that? The Navy. Because they can't get stuff. They have to work with what's on board. They don't have a supply line. They don't have, just hop over here and get something. So, you don't have squat. And so, not to mention, you're living, basically butt to face with the next person. So to say they don't have a right to complain, everybody in the service does. We're all human still. You volunteered to defend your country, not to, go to these extremes. It's like a bait and switch. If I didn't sign up for this, it's a true statement, and this is just asinine.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no, let's hear from you, Shipwreck. Take it away.
Yeah,
What is your response to that video?
I would love to take that piece of shit that just said all that and disrespected not only my service, but the job that we have to do, and take him for 6 months down in the pit and see how he survives. They all say, well, we were out in the sand and all this, and, great. I admire you for doing that. But our job, even in peacetime, is just about as bad as that. If you're a hole snipe, I'm going to tell you right now, you're working in 120 to 140 degree heat all day, every day. That's wet because in a steam plant, there's steam coming out of everything. You're fixing stuff on the fly. You've carried as many of the bearings, rods, other things you need to fix your pumps, to fix your equipment, to fix just about everything. And you have limited space for that. So you get one shot at repairing that thing. It's like, and if you don't repair it and the whole thing collapses, then you're in the dark until they can get somebody to boat you over a part. These people don't understand a damn thing about what it's like to be a sailor in the Navy. I'm not saying it's worse. I'm saying that I'm not saying it's comparable. It's different than what they go through. But to say that we don't suffer is bullshit. And to say that he suffered more is bullshit.
For sure.
He lived. You know, I just,
Yeah.
It angers me, but what angers me more is the total ignorance behind it. And the stupidity. He's ignorant about anything about the Navy, and he's stupid on top of it. You can't fix stupid, but you can fix ignorance. And, you know, again, the operations on a ship are extremely complex. You were saying, you know, we're all assholes and elbows working all that. We have to work constantly to keep that ship running. Every one of us. And I don't think that he could take the shaft of an electric motor, put it up to his eyeball, and be able to eyeball how true it was to less than 1/100th of a millimeter, which is what it has to be when you're putting a new shaft together in a motor. It has to be, the tolerances are so small, but an MR will build that thing and get it to those tolerances inside a machine shop that is about maybe 8 foot by 8 foot, you know, and the equipment he has is good, but it's usually not as good as you could get in a regular machine shop to do that kind of thing. I don't know what they have as far as equipment now. I had a W2 MR machinist. He could true anything by eye and get it so close that the adjustment they had to make was minimal each time. He was flat amazing. And I tell you what, we could not have kept that plant running without the MR shop, the electrician shop, who had to rewind motors. If you know anything about electric motors, when those little copper wires that are all bound up, that there's magnets spinning in, get a zero short, you have to take it all out, unwind it, or get new, rewind it, and get your hands all lacerated. I mean, I could go on, but it's just an ignorant thing. You know, don't tell somebody that their job is not important, or their job is not part of what's going on, or their job isn't as hard as this guy.
Right.
Horseshit. You don't know what their job is, and until you do their job, do not talk to me about it.
Okay, thanks, John. I am going to move through the Abraham Lincoln and start getting into some of the conversations that I want to have that I specifically don't really see being had by anybody. We're going to talk about some things that I think only veterans can talk about, to be perfectly honest. So, Gamble, I sent you a couple messages in DMs before we move along. Whoops. So the next movement of our discussion is going to go into what I call What America Takes. And the first part of this segment is going to be, we're going to be talking about how I think America borrows on our credibility. The uniform confers moral authority long after the person wearing it has been pushed out of the conversation. Military imagery can sell a war, a candidate, a company, or a civilian self-image without transferring power to veterans. So I have some questions for you guys on the topic, and I think instead of going one at a time, it's time to move into a more open panel format. And I'm just going to ask questions and allow you guys to respond and try. And everybody here seems very capable of taking turns, and giving people space to speak. So my first question for the panel is, when have you felt respected as a symbol but ignored as a person? And this is just open, so anybody who feels that they want to.
Anytime I was in public. Anytime I was.
I'm gonna be asking some point
in uniform
questions tonight. I want to get the real conversations going. I'm gonna be honest. I'm tired of the the token conversations.
Anyway, my
Veterans
response
every
to that,
Veterans Day when you have the thank you for your service.
Every
Okay. Just
every time I was
being in
out in
public is
uniform.
an experience, sure.
Yeah, every time I was out in public in uniform, I was a monument
Right.
for them. I was a piece of something, and I get it gets to the point where you're at. After 40 years,
tell you
one
what-
more person thanks me for my service, and I'm going to scream right in their face. You know, it's like, I was there. I did my job. I'm done. You don't have to remind me of it every day. You know.
And I can think easily of.
I've been trying to promote the phrase welcome home. Instead of saying thank you for your service, say welcome home.
Yeah,
I think that's a neutral, polite thing to say to somebody that doesn't tell them how to feel about their service.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's an insincere thank you is worthless to me. It's actually insulting. So, you know,
I
you
agree.
know, if it's another veteran saying it, that puts a different slant on it. That puts a different slant. And I take that as this person knows what I'm talking about and who I am and who
Yes. Sure.
But that's different when they say thank you. That could be something, that could be a dozen things underneath it that a civilian just wouldn't understand. So, you know, I won't get into that. But, you know, there was one person who told me thank you that almost brought me to tears. So it's not that the thank yous that are genuine are fine, but the walking down the street, thank you for your service. You know, that's just that's bullshit. Just
the ones that feel like they're just like a reaction, like it's like saying bless you, right? It's like somebody sneezes, you say bless you, right?
It's starting to sound like bless
feels
your
like it's
heart,
that,
you know.
I mean, I regularly have people see my Air Force tag on my car and say thank you for your service, and it's like and then they see me as a trans person and completely dismiss any of that, and it's like, well, you're thanking.
Oh yeah, no, I see.
And that's what I mean. How sincerely do they care if that's how they react? How sincerely was that? Sincere was that? Thank you. You know, it wasn't. It meant nothing to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, if it can be washed away that quickly, then they didn't care.
It's the biggest slap in the face, though,
for sure,
to have, you know, a just shy of a full career of service, and then get kicked out. You know, not me, but no, I was already out. But you know, other trans people get kicked out. You know, y'all know that. Yeah, y'all y'all know how stupid that is. That's like, thank you for your uniform. Thank you for what you did.
I'll tell you the one that pisses me off the most.
But they don't want to hear.
I have one that pisses me off the most.
What's that?
Memorial Day sales.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Memorial Day sales are the grossest fucking thing to me as a veteran.
Yeah,
I hope I don't have to spell out what I'm saying here.
No, I'm right there.
I think it should be pretty obvious what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
I got you. I think it should be. I'm not even gonna lie. I think it should be illegal to have a Memorial Day sale.
Absolutely.
Or advertise a Memorial Day sale.
I don't mind them having the sales if that's the way they want to do it. I just don't want to hear the commercials. I don't want to have all of the fanfare. Yeah, just don't say Memorial Day. Just say, I'm having a sale this weekend. It's a 3-day weekend. I'm having a sale.
Yeah.
Okay? You know, you don't have to say that it's a Memorial Day sale. That's gross. That's just
especially considering
it is
the fact that they do these ads and they make it sound happy. Like, come on in and take part in our Memorial Day sale.
Come on now and get that dead soldier mattress you've been dying to sleep on. Oh,
Yeah, exactly. It's
I
like that
swear
makes
you'll
a
feel
complete
like you're
satire
sleeping like the
of our
grave.
deaths.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else got to say anything about this topic about the borrowing credibility in general? Because most of the questions that I had lined up, y'all just fucking talked about. So like, I don't feel like I need to.
Well, I could say 2 words more that we could get into another conversation on, and that is stolen valor.
Uh-huh. Yes. Okay, please go ahead. Yeah, Mira's supposed to be in here, and then and I see on the live. Oh, Lucian. Lucian is not on the panel tonight. No. Yeah. And by the way, right now it still has Fiona says Mira on the under Fiona's name. It's got Mira's name duplicated.
I mean, that's just mirror image for.
You're cloning them.
Mira image, yes. Go ahead, John.
Okay. Stolen valor, which I was talking about just mentioned a minute ago. Stolen valor has been happening for a long time. I had a friend of mine that I kept touch with after I left the Navy, who was a chief special operator in the Navy. And he started a website after he got retired that was called, I forget what they called it. But anyway, it ended up to be a site where people would report people claiming military credits and who were civilians or otherwise just stealing valor from people. And I used to go on that website all the time. This is before we had the internet we have now. And I'd look at it and just be people running for office who never served, saying that they were like special operators in whatever service, people who were claiming, to be fighter pilots who were never anywhere near the Air Force or the Navy. It was just like, it was happening all the time then. And then it got to be a big social issue, and there's still people doing it. All over the YouTube and the internet, you can catch people outing these people all the time. It was called Veriseal.
Like
that's what it was.
Doing
Veriseal it was.
Stuff,
yeah. But the one, it started off with the Veriseal, and he Kent Dillingham started that, and he had all of the graduates from every class of BUDS in the history up to that point, and he could verify for them if the person was ever went through and graduated from BUDS or not. BUDS is basic underwater demolition school or SEAL school. So it's I'm
here in San Diego.
I gave him big kudos for that when I talked to him. I gave him big kudos for starting that, and then it started being just stolen valor from all services, and at least as far as I know. But that was a long time ago. And Green Berets, Army Special Forces, unbeknownst to some people, that's not the same thing. That's true. There's Delta Force. There's Special Air Service.
I was so happy when they finally let Sapper be qualify for Special Forces tab, because for a while we were excluded.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going on the missions, but you're excluded from the designation. Yeah, it's like, okay.
So
all right,
I tell you what,
blow their own doors up.
We are about the halfway mark, and am saying we should take about a 5-minute bio break. Let everybody, if anybody needs to handle any business. I know I need to. My water's empty. I got to keep my throat dry because of me talking so much. So we're gonna take 5, and when we come back, we're gonna be talking a little bit more about care. We're gonna be talking a little bit more about what happens after the service, and what hasn't been happening. We're gonna talk about the debt. We're gonna really get into the nitty gritty of that stuff, veterans care, specifically about. Oh, what did I? Yeah. We're going to talk about service transition and veteran care. Thank you. We're going to talk about service transition and veteran care when we return. So 5 minutes. We'll be back, everyone. Give me a countdown this time. Okay. All right, we are back. Welcome. This is Dave's World. I am Dave, the Renegade Sapper, a veteran leftist gamer loudmouth. We are talking with some panelist friends of mine who are also veterans tonight, specifically talking about veterans issues. But before we get back into our conversation, I want to remind everybody out there that we are right here at the end of our summer giveaway that we are doing from our sponsor, W Energy. The winner will be selected August 31st. We are giving away a number of amazing gear, including a W starter kit with this shaker and 3 sample flavors, a special edition Joker shaker that is, it's purple and green and Jokerish. That I got for y'all. And then we have this W logo hat that is in here as well. And I am, just for kicks and giggles, throwing in a hardcover copy of my new novel, The Gate to the Sun, a hard science fiction novel that I just published this year in January. And I'm not going to talk all about that, but you can find it on Amazon Kindle edition for $5, free if you have Kindle Unlimited, $10 for the paperback, $15 for the hardcover. Not gonna lie, I get the most royalties out of the hardcover, right? It's most bang for the buck. So the best way to support me directly as the author is to buy the hardcover version, but I am happy if anybody reads what I wrote. Let's get back to the conversation, and I want to direct the topic more back to care. We talked a little bit about this. Some people have already shared their experiences with the VA, but one of the things that I want to point out, it's a number that I can't forget. It's just so damn close to my heart. 17 and a half veterans commit suicide every day. And 61% of those that do not have health care in the last year of their lives. As far as I'm concerned, this is a failure. And it's not any one administration to blame. It has been a consistent problem across all administrations, regardless of what party, for many, many decades. And I do not consider it a problem with the institution. I consider it a problem genuinely to be with the American people who are not holding the institution accountable, because veteran care is not an important enough issue to them to raise their voice. They're happy to go on and rant about a lot of other fucking issues that I'm sure some of my panelists might even have some personal experiences with, but ain't nobody screaming about how 17 and a half veterans are self-harming every day. I don't see anybody screaming about that on TikTok. I see about them screaming about a lot of things, but not that. So I want to just go ahead and start with that right there. And once again, this is more open panel now. I'm not going to go individual, ask questions. I shared my thoughts there. And what are y'all's thoughts from there? Fiona, just a big old F you. I'm happy to let you go ahead and lead this conversation off, because I know you've had some personal experiences with the VA in particular. And of course, I'm, definitely as a trans person have experience with the exact thing I was just talking about. There are people who are shouting about shit, but it ain't the 17 veteran suicides every day. So go ahead, Fiona, say it with your full chest.
Well, so right now I'm still working on increasing my disability. I've had disability 10% for God knows how long. It's like 20 years almost. I've been trying to get PTSD or anxiety because it's been, ever since my last appointment, it's been huge. The issue being, they did a audit everything, so they gave me a couple things that were presumptive. the last time I checked, and that was a pain in the ass because I had to travel 2,000 miles to get actual proper care because Minnesota VA is the worst VA I've ever seen. They don't care about veterans there. When I went to Portland, I got a couple things, but they still denying me the panic disorder because sex rejection medication is causing my anxiety. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my God.
It's just...
Isn't there something like
these people.
like
the amount
isn't there like very specifically, sorry, go ahead.
The amount I have had to educate every single medical provider that I've ever had about trans healthcare is phenomenal. I've had one or two that were educated enough to just have a conversation and not have to educate them. And it's asinine things like what you just described. They're completely out of left field and they're made up so that they can screw us. They know that's not what it's doing.
It's just gatekeeping, and that's I experienced that before this new administration, where they wouldn't want to start me on medication. There, I had to go to a third party because I didn't look female enough, or I didn't present right. You know, it's a constant give and take, and the VA really doesn't care anymore, especially. They were starting to make strides, I would say 2023, 2024, but everything's been just destroyed.
Yeah, they were actually on track. They were on track to include sex reassignment surgery under VA healthcare. It had been basically approved for years, but they were slowballing the actual process, even though active duty already had it. They sent out surveys to trans people about like what we would look for, what would stop us from using it if it was offered in the VA, all kind of things. And it was an extremely well written survey. I received it. You could tell trans people were involved. And then as soon as the administration changed, not only did that go away, but most of our like previously authorized healthcare disappeared overnight. I had things that was already approved.
So since we got on the sorry, I thought you'd
I had things already approved. Yeah, this will be it. I had things already approved that because it wasn't delivered yet, got canceled.
So since we're on that topic, I'm going to throw out some statistics that I gathered specifically supporting exactly what you guys have been talking about. The Veterans Healthcare Facilities reported 4,434 severe occupational shortage designations in the fiscal year of 2025, 50% more than the fiscal year of 2024. All 139 facilities reported at least one occupational shortage. By which they mean the facility does not have this kind of doctor or this kind of care, or like that's what we're talking about here when we're talking about occupational shortage here. So and that's insane. 57% reported psychology as being the severe shortage.
Yeah.
57% of VA facilities are saying we don't have a psychology department. The VA announced workforce reduction of nearly 30,000 during the fiscal year of 2025 through attrition, retirements, resignations, and hiring controls. The staffing shortage data warrants scrutiny, but those are just fucking opinion notes. Never mind. I'm just trying to go through the stats. There in fiscal year 2025, they lost nearly 30,000 staff members simply through attrition, retirements, resignations, and lack of fucking hiring. Not. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. That too. No, I think this is pre-Doge. I think these numbers that I'm referencing are pre-Doge, and doesn't even account for the
2025?
1,000 fire. Yeah, and that's a good point for. Thank you. That doesn't even account for the 1,000 call center operators, something that we got there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, folks. I just wanted to make sure while we're talking about this stuff, I bring attention back to that. Yeah, Elon Musk and his Doge team fired 1,000 staffers from the 988 crisis line. That is basically saying veterans can go kill themselves. We don't care. I don't know if we need to come back to the community care thing. Yeah. So yeah, that's I'll kick it back to you guys for any thoughts. I definitely have some other questions that I can bring up, but for the most part, everybody here, it seems like, has some personal experience with this system. So I'd like to hear your voices on it.
Mine is, I've been with the VA since '93. So I kind of like have experienced a lot of different hospitals and a lot of different places pre Gulf War, pre-Gulf, the War on Terror. And the VA, when I first started, was a pretty nasty place to get your health care. You had to fight tooth and nail just about to get an aspirin. Things started changing in the late 90s when all of a sudden they were hiring a lot of veterans in the administration for those positions who really turned things around, and it got to where the care was really going up. They were good, and they were good by 2000. They were getting a lot better. By the 2001, when I went to Tampa, the James A. Haley, excellent place, excellent service. The doctors were excellent. Nobody pushed you aside. They always made room for you. I had doctors bend over backwards to get an appointment in for me. These people are dedicated. I mean, seriously dedicated to helping you. And the serious shortages of nurses, serious shortages of psychology and psychiatry, because the demand, given the new wars, was completely blowing through the roof of anything they had prepared for. So as time went on and they started catching up, then we got to administrations who really seriously didn't give a shit about you, and things backslid a little bit. But never did the doctors and nurses and the administrative assistants and things like that, they never got worse. They just got more overworked. And the exhaustion got to be palpable, very quickly. By the time COVID hit, I wouldn't even bother going to an appointment because the doctors were so exhausted. They were numb, they had people dropping dead all over the place. They had pavilions built out of tents to keep the patients. There were so many of them. It was a disaster of almost biblical proportions that administration decided wasn't important and was a hoax. I hope people remember that. The only reason why we had 1,200,000 people die is because the administration refused to act at the beginning when they were told they had to. They ignored it for months.
And sold
And
off
so
half the
I
stuff
will
to
never
Russia.
forgive them for that. Yeah. I will never forgive them for that. Never. They murdered probably 600,000 Americans because of their inaction. Anyway, I'm going to go away from that. The VA did their best. I was at Dorn for 2020 because we moved down.
You mean in
up to
that
South
specific
Carolina.
situation, right?
Yeah. When I went to Dorn, they were overwhelmed too. I only had a couple of appointments that I needed to have for medication purposes, but it took a fight for me to get my ratings every time.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I left the Navy with 20%. It took 4 years for me to get a VA hearing. And
I have
to
a
do
very
that, I
similar
needed,
story to yours as far as that is concerned. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it took 2 senators and a first lady
Your
to get
experience
me
is
my,
similar to mine there.
yeah, yeah. It took 2 senators and a first lady. First lady dressing down the VA secretary in the hallway of the White House to get me a hearing, a board. I got the board. They upped me to 40%, which was the maximum at my current diagnosis they could give me. It was an incorrect diagnosis, but it was a diagnosis. Um, you know, shortly thereafter, about 5 years later, 2003,
Mm-hmm.
the diagnosis shifted from fibromyalgia to multiple sclerosis with some actual science behind it. So, and that of course was, I didn't bother to go fight for more with multiple sclerosis just because I was tired of fighting at that point. So, but when I came down with cancer, I put in for the cancer because that was going to either kill me or disable me even more. So I put in for that. They gave me 100%. In the meantime, they found out, they looked back in my record because they go through the whole thing and they said, oh, you have multiple sclerosis. They threw that on top of it. And, you know, and then they had not given me the tinnitus, which I have both ears. But, and so they threw that 10% on there and gave me 100% because I was in cancer treatment. When I was done with the treatment, they took me back down to 90%. And then the chemotherapy destroyed my kidneys. So it went back up to 100% permanent. And, you know, and that's where I'm at right now. So,
All right.
it was just
Appreciate
like,
you sharing. Okay.
well, I just wanted to
go ahead
give
and
people
finish.
an idea of what you have to go through to get anything, you know, and if you're trying to get something that they are gun shy about, like Fiona and Mira have, it's going to be 10 times as hard. It almost got me to give up, and I don't give up on much, but I can't imagine what these 2 ladies had to go through just to get anything at all. You know, it's like, and still have to. They're still going to have to.
And if I can piggyback on that real quick, is I've been nonstop self-advocating for 6 years at the same VA, and at first, as all of you would know, it was hell. I've had, you know, doctors tell me that there's nothing wrong, or they can't find anything, or in some cases even that I'm lying. You know, about like an ankle injury that was 20 years ago, and want me to go to old doctors and get records from when I was active duty that I can't possibly get. And had one doctor tell me, well, I can just mark it as arthritis and try to get you benefits, or we can try to fix it. And like, of course I want to fix it. Part of that response,
fix it. That's good. Yeah, why don't we do that?
Yeah. Part of that,
do that. Fix the thing. Yeah.
Part of that response from me wasn't just, okay, I want it fixed, because of course I do, but it's also because I didn't have any hope of getting disability recognition on that condition, and I didn't want to fight for it. I got lucky enough to get my initial 70%, and that was just mental health. I got 10% tinnitus with evident hearing loss, but not enough to increase the rating. And like they denied this claim. Like when I initially submitted, they denied my ankle. And I just didn't. I'm already dealing with so much mental health. I don't have the spoons to advocate for that when they push back so much. When I haven't, and you listen to to the others here about the hard time you have dealing with doctors. I had an easier time seeing myself advocating against the doctors. And here I am 6 years later.
That's a real shame.
Here I am 6 years later. Basically, everyone at my VA knows me by like on the spot by name, and I have an amazing team. My stuff is so statistically unlikely that I'm at a clinical pharmacist, which most people have never heard of. And excuse me, I have a tumor on my liver that is it's 3 to 4 in 100,000 people get it, and trans people are less than 1% of the population. So the odds of a trans person getting it is very low. None of my doctors have ever seen it. There's no data about it. So I'm basically the first. And my cancer doctor,
wow,
my cancer doctor was like, well, we're going to treat this way. And he had me stop all of my HRT. And the estrogen side made sense because that's how you would treat a woman. You would reduce her estrogen, increase metabolism, and then try to get the dang thing out. But to stop my testosterone blocker, I mean, it's not something you would do to a woman. But I went with it because he was the doctor. And 2 years later, he says, well, it's smaller, but it's still, I still can't operate. But, you know, stay off the hormones. You're good. I don't need to see you. Like, these doctors treat transition care as a cause.
Yeah.
As soon as they find out we're trans.
I hear what you're saying.
And
I hear what you're saying, yeah.
Thankfully, I do my own research, and I have good advocacy skills and doctors that listen. And they finally got me. Let me back up a quick second. The Mayo Clinic reached out to us when they heard about my case.
Wow.
And one, because they had a gender center, and they had a liver tumor center. And in order to get approved to see them, it has to leave the actual VA hospital system and get approved by bureaucrats. Guess what didn't happen?
Oh, yeah.
I tried many times to go to Mayo.
Thankfully, now I am at.
Y'all mind if I start transitioning to? Sorry, the pun, but the next topic.
Yeah, this is a quick wrap up. Yeah, I'm at.
Yeah, go ahead and give us your final thoughts. Yeah.
Now I'm finally at UAB, and they have the best liver center in the Southeast, and they have a gender center, and they can fix it. Like no question. And they listened to my research. They were already on the same page about how this should play out because of hormone, etc. And that my last doctor was stupid. But that I tie this back not only to what we just discussed about advocacy and fighting the VA, but also back to the previous topic on suicidality. I'm a suicide survivor.
Yes. I am as well.
And
I am too.
I am not.
I didn't realize.
Well, 4 out of 5 ain't bad.
Yeah. I didn't realize how far gone my hope was after being told that there was nothing more they could do. I was living my life day to day on autopilot, and I get to this doctor and they tell me, yes, we can fix it, and here's some ways. And he said, do you have any questions? I said, no, I'm just excited. And they looked at each other and they're like, we've never had someone say that. I said, Doc, I've been hopeless for 2 years. You're giving me hope back.
That's fantastic to hear.
I'm glad you
Since
found that.
this segment did have since this segment did end on talking about suicidality, I want to remind everyone of the Veterans Crisis Line. Dial 988, press 1, or you can text 838-255. This is a resource available to you if you are in crisis. You do not have to have, I want to tell people, you do not have to have the gun in your hand to be in crisis. The point of crisis is it needs to be addressed before it reaches there. You are in crisis long before you get that point. So please, if you are experiencing crisis, dial 988, press 1, or text 838-255. I am not going to lie to y'all. I'm kind of feeling a bit tired and want to get to my wrap-up questions and kind of lead this towards the end of our conversation. But all of you are welcome for the next time I have a Friday Night Fireside, and we'll probably talk more about these things. There's so much for us to get into. They won't all be veteran themed, but I think for a little bit, I'm gonna be focusing on veterans issues, and until I feel like somebody else is listening. That does transition well into how I want to wrap up the questions I want to ask. I want to ask y'all, what do you think America owes veterans beyond healthcare? I want you guys to actually talk to the American people who might hear your voices. What do you think America owes veterans?
Better homeless
Not just
care,
healthcare,
because
homeless care, okay.
yeah, because it took me a month and a half to find transitional housing because they are so overbooked and they don't put enough resources
Veterans
in the
housing,
right places. Yeah. And there's plenty of veterans veterans homes that they could do a transitional housing. And I just got lucky. It's my problem. Some people don't have that choice, you know.
Right.
There shouldn't be any homeless veterans, specifically those who are suffering from trauma-induced mental illness, or even just mental illness from service. Even if it's developing after the service, maybe there's trauma from transition from service. It took me years to get over the loss of my career. And I may not be completely over it now, but I don't think that veterans deserve that. If you have ruined their life, they deserve to be set right. And that means giving them enough to where they can have a normal life, whatever that takes. If you have to, and they do a lot of the work, they just don't do enough of it. There's still tons of homeless veterans. And sometimes it's because they don't want help and they say, well, they refuse. You have to keep at them and let them know that somebody values them. And that will, there is no panacea. There's no golden fleece that you can just throw over them and have them healed. It's not going to happen. This takes a lot of work by a lot of dedicated people. But we all are veterans, and most of this work is being done by veterans, for veterans.
That's the only reason.
I would say to people who are, I'd say to the people who aren't veterans that they should consider donating to the Wounded Warrior Project, donating to charities that help, because this government is not going to do shit for you. We have to help each other. And if you have $5 once a month to give to a charity that helps, that might house one veteran. That might get one person who has specific needs a little further along the way. So I would just say, if you give to the ASPCA, you can give to a veterans organization. if you give to other charities
Oh, yeah.
every month, think about it. Think about, where you can place those dollars, and vote so that the government is aware that you are voting because they did or did not support veterans. And that's what I have to say about that, is that,
Thank you.
and
That was
I have a
great
lot
answer,
to say.
John. Yeah, I know.
And
Mira,
oh,
do you
sorry.
have an answer to that question? What do you think America owes veterans?
One of the things I was going to hit on first was vote. People don't vote enough as it is for anything, and you would be surprised, not just on the national level. People don't realize that their local elections affect us. Their local elections affect how the local VAs can help us. Local elections affect the governor, and the governor signs laws that impact the VAs just because they're in our state. One example is that I used to get my trans health care done at the women's clinic in the VA, and the person I saw was an advanced practicing nurse, APRN. Ron DeSantis signed a law that said trans people can only get their care from an MD. 80% of us in the state lost our care immediately. I have to get my care from outside the VA because we don't have an MD that does it. My primary
Does
care.
that mean you also have to go out of pocket?
No, it's still covered by the VA. It's just that it's
okay. So is it through community care?
Yes. I was seeing a really good endocrinologist at the regional center, but she had to move on because she was too stressed by the administration, and every other endocrinologist there is anti-trans. So the voting is all of that. Every last bit of it. And and that also cuts back to the not funding, hiring. It's been years since I had an MD as a primary care doctor. I've had nurse practitioners, and I love them to death. But there are things that
I have an NP for my psych.
Yeah, I love them to death, but there are things that they can't legally do for you.
Right.
That's true.
Fiona, I think you were trying to say something before Mira. Do you want to share that before I get to our final question?
Oh, yeah, no. I just wanted to shout out transition projects. They're specifically for Oregon homeless, and that's
Go for it. Yeah, plug.
With, yeah. And they're probably the best organization. It's a nonprofit that helps people that veterans that are getting homeless get housed, and it's just very hard to get that support.
Excellent. Yeah, if you got something to share, Gamble, by all means.
Yeah,
please,
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I am the producer in the back to this thing. I usually don't want to, but I want to jump on this, and I do want to say, me just being a normal civilian, but I have family members that were veterans who served in the conflicts, who served in the war fronts. Welcome home as well. But the one thing I can't stand and what's going on is that how our system is not designed the way it's supposed to be. For us to get the resolutions, and I agree with y'all, I agree with everyone, that people should vote on from local to state to federal, all the above, to stop playing this political monopoly checkerboard, manipulating stuff for the medical coverages for the military veterans, manipulating to say that someone couldn't get what they needed, even like what you said, Shipwreck, about you couldn't get a thing of aspirin. That stuff like that needs to be ripped from the core. And redone the cornerstone and build it back up again, because our societies are to be adaptable. They are not just gray zones from 200 years ago. As an example, that things have to change, things have to be updated. And I agree with everyone in this room. Homelessness is definitely serious. It's also double serious that a veteran, someone who served overtime overseas, is stuck on the side of the road defending themselves on a new war front that no one's willing to help out, no one's willing to reach out. And it is time that something like that needs to change immediately, and a new element in this country has to take place. That's all I want to say. That's my podium.
Just so everybody doesn't understands, one individual cannot do very much for these huge problems, right? But you do have a vote.
Absolutely.
You do have a say, and that's important to use, especially locally, because the way things like education in the schools is done by school boards, and you need to make sure that the right people get in there, because they will screw up, they will fuck up your kids otherwise. You have to get, you're not going to be able to pay for one homeless person to get what they need, much less thousands. You need to get the government to do that. They're the only ones who have the pockets to do that. Even big businesses who have deep pockets can't solve that problem. They can take a chunk out of it, but they can't solve that problem. We need to find out exactly what the causes of homelessness are. And there are experts out there who know this, that they're not listening to. And once you get the causes of homelessness, you address the core problems, and you get the homeless the aid they need. You got to do a two-pronged approach, folks. And that's the only way you do it. But as far as us individual citizens, read up on the people you're voting for. Don't just take whatever the party says you should vote for. Don't vote party line. Be an independent voter. Research it. I found out this last time that the guy I wanted to vote for my representative for this area of Congress, they don't have a Democrat running at all. But there was one guy up in the top, I researched, and there was one guy I really hoped would win his primary, because this one guy was really needed to be up there. I talked to him in face to face, and this guy, I don't think he won. So, but he was spot on all the things that needed to happen. And he was a Republican. And it drives me crazy that, somebody can be like that, and they're Republican because their parents were Republicans, their grandparents were Republicans, their great-grandparents were Republicans, and they just can't see themselves under any other label. Fine. We don't need to gatekeep good people who have progressive ideas. We need all the ideas. Now I'm starting to get on a rant, so I'm going to stop right there.
No, that's fine, and I get the point where you have a very good
So
valid point.
let's
the valid. No, I'm going to jump on him real quick, and then we'll go to you.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. The point of the matter is, I agree with you 100% that people need to stop doing the election points of voting on party line just because someone else voted for that person to say, oh, you should vote for this guy. No. You did the right thing. You did the research. You did the profiling. You said, okay, I don't like these guys. That's like buying stock, or, you go to a retail store. What happened with a lot of places. But people would start raising their prices. You're like, I'm not touching them. You're not raising my prices. I walk away. I'm buying something else. And they lose money. That's another example.
You're hiring somebody to do a job.
Exactly.
You can't just hire anybody. They have to have the skill set to do that job.
Exactly.
If I can help bring that home for people.
Go for it.
The government wants us to depend on each other. And not to say that like it's a bad thing to depend on each other, but financially, they want us to have to fundraise from each other because it keeps us poor. They don't want to have to they don't want to have to give back. They don't want the billionaires and the taxes to actually come back to us and help us, because it makes us pay for each other and keeps us poor. Don't let them keep us down like that. Make them do their jobs.
All right. So I do want to give my answer to the question after all of you guys did. And what do I think America owes veterans? I think America owes veterans voices. I think that that y'all owe it to us to open your ears and listen to the words coming out of our mouths. That's what I think you owe us. And that's why I'm here tonight. That's why I brought my friends up here tonight to talk with y'all and share their voices with you. Not just what I think, not just what this leftist loudmouth fucking guy who does not know how to shut up except for when people he respects are speaking. So that's my word, that you owe us our voices. My last question to wrap it all up and get a bow on the conversation tonight is, what evidence would convince you that things have changed, or that that people are listening, or that things are moving in the right direction? What evidence would convince you that people like that something meaningful is happening regarding any of this?
You're asking us that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll start. Boots on the ground. I want the staffing issue. I see the staffing issues dissolving, wait times going down, appointments available to the people with 10% disability rather than just the people with 100%. If I see that happening, if when I'm sitting in the VA waiting room and a guy gets called before me, and I happen to know him and know what his percentage is, and his is like down here, mine of course is maxed, and he gets to go at the same appointment level that I get. And I can see that. You can see the waiting lines aren't that long. The waiting rooms are not full waiting for doctors to get to them. They're not going to do an 8.5-hour wait for a neurologist, which I had to do once. I had an appointment for 2 p.m. I didn't get out of there till 10 p.m. Luckily, the doctor said, "I'm going to get to you. I'm going to get to you." He kept coming out, "I'm going to get to you. Don't leave." You know, he kept telling me, "Don't leave." And he finally got to me. And it was important.
I think you've told me this story.
Yeah. It was a little over 8 hours.
Story before,
yeah. I was there. Yeah. So I don't want to see that happen to anybody. I don't want to see that happening. And I can see that when I go and I sit there. I can when I watch what's going on, I can see.
I got
and if in that waiting room, people are coming out and calling people in every 3 or 4 minutes, then I'll say something's going on.
Somebody else had an answer? I didn't catch who was talking. But who?
I got a real easy one. Well, I had it better formed in my neurodivergent brain for a second.
It's okay. And if you need a moment to gather your thoughts,
stick your finger in your left ear and blink
go.
your right eye, and it will be fine.
Okay,
yeah, that's how it works.
No, it's really easy. Like I said, almost everybody at my VA knows me. When I can go to a waiting area, and the staff no longer looks exhausted. They are.
Yes.
They are still putting everything into every interaction they have. They love their job because they love to serve us. And they are burning the candles at both ends. When I can come in and I can see them bright before they see me instead of when they see me, I'll know we've gotten somewhere.
Cool. Fiona, you want to share us your thoughts? What evidence would convince you that meaningful change is happening?
I think just more outreach. I see some like stand downs that happen, but they're just not enough. We need more comprehensive care in that aspect.
Okay. And I'll answer the question last, unless Gamble, you want to share one. All right, then I'll just go right into it. For me, the evidence is all about that suicide number. When I see that suicide number going down, I'm even going to set the bar as high as when I see that suicide number at 0. But even more to the point, that other number I've been sharing all night is that 61% of those that self-harm every day do not have health care in the last year of their lives. That number needs to go down to 0. I don't think that's an unreasonable bar.
An unreasonable bar.
Once again, yeah, that 61% not having health care in the last year of their lives. I know how high of a bar it would be to get that suicide number down to 0, but that 61% needs to go down to 0, and that is a reachable number. That's the evidence that I will accept as meaningful change. Get on it, America. That is our show tonight. Does anybody have any last thoughts that they really feel like they want to share, and especially any particular plugs, like any organizations or programs or support that you think that people might want to hear about, get access to? We probably even be taking the end of this here and clipping in for some shorts, so those plugs will get in there. One at a time, though, so I'll just ask Fiona first.
Go ahead.
Because Fiona, you DM'd me, so I wanted to give you the opportunity first.
Oh, I just want to plug out that there is a national call center for homeless veterans. I don't have the number offhand, but it's on their website to help out.
I will copy and paste it to Gamble so he can put it on the so we can put it on the screen.
Description. Yeah, the description of the screen.
Because, yeah, you send it to me in DMs, and I can just give it to Gamble. Gamble can pop it up there for everybody. Gamble, it's in your DMs, the national hotline that Fiona is referring to. Shipwreck, you sounded like you had a charity you wanted to share.
I have a couple of charities that I think are worthy. One of them is the Wounded Warrior Project, but there are others that work as well. But I don't have a lot of their contact information. I do support. My support goes to the Military Religious Freedom Foundation. I find that very important, but that's a whole nother discussion. The other one is Stronghold, which you can look it up on their stronghold.org website. I support them. It's an organization founded by a gentleman named Ephraim Matos, and he was a special operator, and he does rescue and medical treatment to people in countries that have ongoing conflicts. And so that's just something that I find near and dear to my heart, because he's saving children and oppressed people. So that's important. But we also need to take care of ourselves. So I would say that, you know, the veterans organizations, you know, the traditional veterans organizations, they do a lot of work in Washington, and they try very hard to get us what we need. The parties don't always cooperate. Like DAV, I'm a life member of DAV, Disabled American Veterans, and I'm also a life member of the VFW. So if you can join those organizations, that's great. Yeah, and also the American Legion. If you're not a combat veteran, you know, if you're a REMP, as they call them, you can join the American Legion, and they also do a lot of very good work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And a lot of
those
I
are
want
the
to share.
organizations. Go ahead.
Just to like piggyback off of that real quick, a lot of American Legions and VFWs hold their meetings in the same place, on the same days even.
That's true.
Mira, do you have anything that you want to put out there to people before we call it a night?
Yeah. So, I'm involved with a number of communities that do fundraising throughout the year. One of them we go for is the Transgender Law Center, which is nationally involved. They were even involved in Supreme Court cases. So like we've talked about voting and everything, we can't exactly vote directly with Supreme Court, but we have ways we can sway things. So when it comes to trans people, that's a good one. There's the National Children's Alliance, which I'm blanking out on details, but that's you can tell by the name of it. Like we fundraise for them a lot, but less directly, considering our community. I imagine a lot of our audience is on Twitch. Search the taglines for fundraising and charity. There are hundreds of streamers that do fundraising throughout the year. You will find streamers you align with that support causes that you support.
All right. Thank you, Mira. I am going to plug a charity that is near and dear to my heart, and that is the Dave's World Patreon, y'all. Go to Patreon and support this channel if you enjoy the content that we create. There are several different tiers that have different benefits to being a part of the Dave's World Patreon and supporting us. And we are going to be adding a lot more Patreon benefits as the rest of this year continues. The things that are going to be available to Patreon members of different different tiers is going to be drastically changing soon, and definitely to the benefit of people who sign up. So that is what I wanted to support this if you think that you want to help me and my friends get our messages and content out. All right, I got nothing else to add, and thank you to my audience, or not my audience, my panelists tonight, Fiona, Shipwreck John, the Mira Dimension. It was wonderful to be able to have you up here to share your thoughts and give this conversation the energy that you gave it, because I think this is where we start, right? I think that just like shaping this conversation is what we need to do, or what we can do, what we have the power to do as veterans, is that we try and get our voices as loud as fucking possible and start shaping this conversation the way we need it to be shaped. So thank you for being a part of this, and I wish everybody a fantastic evening, and please listen to these veterans' voices and what they've told you, because if anybody knows what is going to impact veterans, it is veterans. Have a great evening.
Shout out to my sponsor, W Energy drink of the future.